to Finding Calm in the Chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello, everybody. It's Denise. Welcome to another edition of Finding Calm in the Chaos. Happy Wednesday. We are more than halfway through the month. More than halfway, people. This year's flying by. It's quick. I feel like the older I get, though, it is. Time flies when you're having fun, though. So I guess maybe the older you get, the more fun you have. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh my gosh. So what is going on? I hope you guys all had an awesome Valentine's Day. So we are not big on Valentine's Day, I will tell you. However, I do like doing special things with Peter and stuff just so that he can just, learn how to have special moments with mama while I have them, but also to kind of just, be let him know that one day he's going to have to take care of a lady and give her all the things. My mama heart just can't handle that right now. Mr. Sith was very good this year. I got an awesome card. And we actually got a sitter, my friend Trish, who is awesome sauce. Thank you, Trish. And we went to a hockey game. And we sat outside of our season tickets, where I like to sit. Okay, so long story short, we have seats so that Peter can enjoy the game fully with the team and other people, and the most viewing for somebody who's not a huge hockey fan. For me, I like to sit in a completely different area, but he has vision that would be obstructed for play, and he's already distracted during a game anyway. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Sith got me tickets to the side of the bench. If you are a hockey person, you know what that means. We were just to the side of the home bench. And I like that because I see who's going in and out on the lines. And we had a great game. We won. And it was a good win because it was against our local in-state rival. And also my custom jersey that I won, that I bought at Charity Box. I won a custom jersey. That came in. So I got to go pick that up. It was pretty exciting. I was like, hey, what else is going on? There is going to be nothing specific about I'm going to talk about little bits and things, okay? I'm just going to put that out there. Derby. So Pinewood Derby. Peter didn't place. But now I'm on a complete mission, and I've already legitimately designed the entire car, and all he has to do is have fun and build it now with Mr. Sith. I'll do all the detail parts of it, and he could paint it and customize it and go all crazy. I love it. So that's done. I'm going to get ready to do that. It's down. It's going down. Okay. I can't even believe how fast this year is going by. Now, I say that because we're planning, like I've discussed, another big European vacation. We're going to Italy in June for 21 days. And it's a big deal because, it's Jubilee year there. Look it up. It's a Christian Jubilee year. So it gets pretty busy. We're going early. So I think we'll be okay. But finding a place there right now is ridiculous. Now, I'm all booked with my places, but there were some huge hiccups. So I had booked our place in Milan in August of last year. I'm not even joking, okay? Because it was this beautiful penthouse apartment that overlooked the Duomo in Milan, and it was almost like a greenhouse. And then the side of the house that you slept on was, had walls. You know what I'm saying? But it looked beautiful. It was nice. It was what you would think of Milan. And so I'm going through and I'm paying everything down now, right? Like you reserve everything, you got to deposit. I just want to pay it because when I travel, I want nothing to be there. I don't want to have to know that I have to pay this person and do this and do that. Now that's minus the VAT, right? So the VAT is a charge, a European surcharge that property owners get charged per person. It's usually €5 per person that is staying in the apartment. And usually they'll include it in the fee, but sometimes they don't because they want cash to just pay it because it's taxes. They want to separate it out. And so I like to know how much we need to have cash in hand. So I go through, pay for everything, find out what they're going to need cash in person, and then like have it done, right? So at most it's like €20 for us because we're going 4 of us. Wow. Okay. First off, I go to confirm by email at this point, right? With the property company that has the penthouse in Milan. 6 months. 6 months it's been reserved. And yeah, you see what's coming? They send me like just random the next day, mind you. There's like a 24-hour time gap because by the time I'm sending all these messages, they're probably closed for the day and then they'll answer me in the morning and then I got to get it when I get up. So, I mean, not a big deal. That's part of the, when you travel, that's how you got to make your plans ahead of time. So I tell you, I swear, I open up the email and it's like, oh, we regret to inform you. And I'm like, no. And they regret to inform me that the property owner sold the property and apparently they're just finding about it now. I'm like, really? I was not happy. But then they're like, but here is a property that we can provide to you at the same rate. Just let me know if it's suffice. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I go to look at the property. No. First off, I need 3 separate beds. We have my young adult niece going, who's going to be 19 or 20 at the time of this trip. I don't know. Sorry, Ange. And Peter, like, who the hell wants to sleep with him? Just saying. And then me and Mr. Sith. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's like 1 bedroom with like a queen futon, like couch or whatever. And I'm like, no, there's no way I am subjecting my niece, even for 1 night or 1 city, sleeping with my kid in Milan. And I'm thinking, how is this comparable? This is this tiny convertible apartment. And we just came from a 2-bedroom penthouse with full views of the city. That's not a comparable rate. You're out of your mind. I'm like, no, thank you. Cancel my reservation, period. So they did. No big deal. No harm, no foul. But now I'm panicking because I already know how hard it's going to find things in Rome and Milan. So luckily, we found something. I'm like, no, we did have to pay a little bit more, just a little. It wasn't like a deal breaker. But at least all the kids have their own beds, right? And it's nice and it's big and it's roomy. And as usual, we will document all this. I always say I'm going to document it on YouTube, but in all honesty, I don't have the patience to film a bunch of shit, you guys, and then edit it all together to look like a little movie. I just don't. I'd rather just take a bunch of pictures, edit out what I'm going to put on a small post from Facebook memories later, and then shoot you like a video in a reel. It's just quicker, man. It's quicker to me. So yeah, I don't have that. Now, if I had somebody who did YouTube follow me around and film it, I'm all in. But no, I can't do that. I know you guys want YouTube videos. Thinking I might do it without letting him know. But what will Peter eat? He wants to do that again. But then I said, oh, you want me to record you? And he goes, no, I want you to record for yours. And I'm like, why would I record for mine? So I think I'm going to record and just say it's on mine, but put it on his and, get his channel some traffic. He's got more traffic than mine does. He does though. So I am happy to say that we have secured all of the apartments for all the cities. So we got 1 in Milan, we have 1 in Parma, 1 in Bologna, 1 in Florence, and I must have changed. And at one point I texted Mr. Sith from our homeschool co-op last Thursday, and I said, listen, here's the deal. All of the things that I saved last night while I was up and you were sleeping to show you today in the folder so that we can pick an apartment in Rome, they're all gone. So do you trust my executive position to just like pick a place and rent it? He's like, yes. I'm like, cool. Rented. I'm like, good gosh. So I don't like to stay in the center of Rome, but we kind of had no choice. And I found a place that was really decent. And everyone in the review said that it was like double paned glass, so that when you shut the window, you couldn't hear anything. I personally am not bothered by that. I lived in the city of Chicago, down in the city, like downtown, for a large portion of my youth, my early 20s. And I really found that like street sounds and city sounds are comforting to me. So I probably will sleep better. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Sith can sleep through anything. So what does he care? As does Peter. So I'm thinking it's just me and my niece, right? I think she could sleep just fine. We'll be fine. So that's taken care of. So now we just gotta, I play the, I'm in airfare game now. Like how much does airfare cost today? So we have the same flights that we would like to book. And then we go through on an incognito window. I wish I was joking. If you don't know what that is, we never look for airfare. Sorry, my little voodoo coffee girl that is my little it's like a little keychain that's on my microphone is like sliding all over the place. So if you're hearing little jingles, that's what it is. She's like sliding into my mic. I'm like trying to like push her back. But yeah, I feel like it's easier. Incognito window. They don't know what you're looking for. They don't change the rates. They do. They absolutely do. I know this for a fact because I've looked up an airfare just using, my regular browser. And then I went to an incognito window exactly at the same time, right after I looked. I have them saved and they're up and I'm looking at them. And then I go into the incognito window and I look up the same airfare and it's cheaper. Because they don't know what I'm looking for. They see that history and they get you. So no, I never book on a weekend. So I know what flight I want, but right now it's probably about $2,500 more that I'm going to pay and it'll go down on Tuesday or Wednesday. Not even joking. So boom, a little travel tip for you. I always wanted to use like a travel agent just for flights because I feel like they have better deals. But I'd really, really have to know you and trust you at this point. I tried to do it again, but I think she's a great person. I love her. She's one of my online friends, but I think it's an MLM. So I was like, nope, can't use that. But I do all of my stuff. People always ask, you have the most wonderful trip. Who planned your trips? I do. I planned them for years ahead. So like the last time we went to Europe was 2023. We took a break in 24 and went to Canada to visit family, did like a, more of, we call it an in-home trip. We don't really even, it's funny because I was going to say we stay in the country, but okay, on the continent, I'll give you that. We went to Canada, which is outside of the country, obviously, but I feel like it's still so close. We just drove. So it's so much easier. Whereas when you're going to Europe, I plan ahead of time. I watch people are like, how do you like plan these like great? Listen, by the time we get there, when I plan, I've had everything researched. The cities where we're going, the museums, I narrow it down. Like right now, I'm in the process of my spiral notebook going into my composition notebook. I know it's funny, but if you know, you know. So I'm taking all my scratch notes from the spiral book and I've narrowed it down to where we're going to go and where we're going to eat. And then I always have like browsy places to go where you don't have to get a ticket to get in, but there are things we'd like to see if we're in the area and it's a beautiful day. So let's just go walk and look at this and look at that. And these are the places to eat in between. And I have all that. You don't have to remember it. No, I don't bring my book everywhere. I keep that at the apartment. But what you can do is we always have our phones. And let me tell you how you can utilize your phone and Google Maps. We label everything because Mr. Sith helps me. We label the restaurants, the places we want to see, all the things we've seen other people review online. We take all of that and we tag it with different things in Google Maps in those cities. Where's the apartment we just rented? Boom, we put that. What's around us after all all through since the moment we ended our last trip, I was planning my next one. So when we came home, June 2023, I started YouTubing immediately the new cities we were going to. Not even a joke. So literally, we have all of these tags of places that we've seen or seen other people look at on YouTube, or, hey, there are lots of places that, quote unquote, influencers will say are fabulous. But if you go to the real YouTubers who are like locals and real food people, because they're local, I'll say that again, they'll tell you, yeah, everybody talks about this place. Let's go to it. All the influencers say this is the place to go. And then they go in there and they're like, I wouldn't go again. Definitely a tourist trap. And I'm like, ooh, cross that off the list. We don't want that place. Cross that off. So and then everything's right there on the map for you. Everything's marked. So no matter where you are on any given day, if you have extra time or everyone's thirsty, you can look and just see, hey, there's the restaurant we want right down the block. Let's go in there, get something to drink, bathroom break, all of that good stuff. So anyway, I got some more stuff to talk about, but I'm going to take a quick break for our sponsor and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Peter Sith, and I'm here to tell you about something you have to have for your kids. My new book, Popcorn World. Peek inside my creative brain and meet Dylan, an ordinary kid who accidentally finds a portal to his new world in his basement while looking for his lost soccer ball. Your kids will totally be able to relate to Dylan and all his emotions, trials, and big act of kindness in my story. I worked on creating this book over the summer with my awesome tutor, Dr. Peterson. She helped me guide me through the parts of my book, and boom, Popcorn World was created. Another cool fact, my mom does all the drawings. Trust me, these pictures and the story are super cool, but you can find out yourself by picking up a copy on Amazon. And it's available worldwide. So even if my family and friends in Slovakia, Canada, Scotland, and Italy can get a copy of Popcorn World. Don't forget the name, Popcorn World. Available on Amazon now. Let's make reading cool.
And we're back. All righty. Oh, I feel like I'm getting through this like so quickly today. I didn't think it was going to go so quick. But depending on where you are in your mind in the United States right now, I feel like we're living in a dream in the United States. So a lot of people, when I say a lot, I mean more than a dozen people, okay, have all had, like, people I know personally that also listen to the podcast, whether they be here or abroad or in another state. We have these conversations and they're political, and we might not always have the same opinion, but they're like, you should do a political podcast just about all the stuff that's going on because you're so even keeled. And I never let emotions play into politics. And I've talked about this in the past. But it can be frustrating, especially in what is going on right now in the United States is incredibly frustrating. And sometimes you just have to sit back. And at this point, I have very strong feelings of my own regarding it all. But I feel like when you're actually trying to communicate with others, especially those that have a differing opinion, that it is really important in order to bond us as Americans, that you really need to speak out of emotion, meaning take it out, not like don't spoke in emotion, take the emotion equation out and really truly talk about facts. And this has been something that, people throw around on the right and on the left. And in all honesty, I'm not a fan of the right or the left at this point. I'm not a fan of the Democrats, and I'm really not a fan of the Republicans, but I am a fan of anyone who is willing to be criticized, but still continues to pursue a better life for Americans. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it wholeheartedly. Now, this isn't about who I voted for or who I didn't vote for. And I do have something that I wanted to read that I got in my house that was very, in all honesty, it's a little concerning. I'm gonna say it was concerning to me for a couple reasons, and I'm actually digging into it a little deeper because I don't understand how this name got on this registry. And so we're digging into it because I have the time, but they don't. So it's just easier for me. But the first thing I want to talk about is that right now there, and you might agree with me, you might not agree with me, and that's totally okay. I think that if you have a different opinion than I do, that is the glory and the goodness of being a United States of an American citizen. Okay? You're an American citizen, and we have these rights to have differing opinions. And here's the best part. That's the beauty of not only being American, but being human. And this is where I think is something that has been taken out of the factor, is that we are humans. Deep down, we are all the same. But somehow, this convoluted message came across that if you were different or wanted to be different or thought different or did anything different, that everybody must accept you for who you are. And that is absolutely true. If you, I'm going to go extreme here on both sides. If you are a God-fearing person who believes in the ultimate right-sided this and that, I am 100% support you in your beliefs. But they're not my beliefs. And so I need you to accept me as well. And if you are on the far right and you are the left and you believe in, the gender fusion and all of that kind of stuff, I wholeheartedly accept you for who you are. However, I'm not you and you're not me. I wouldn't want you to accept who I am into your world if that's not how you feel or identify. However, I can't demand that you do what I do, and you can't demand that I believe and do what you do and cause such outrage over it that it becomes what I feel has become like a national epidemic. Now, I'm just going to mention it briefly, but we're not going to talk about it. I do not believe, and it's my personal opinion, that although I do believe that some people, for whatever reasons, I'm not saying what they are. They could be because that's how they feel. They could be because that's what they were told. They could be that way because I don't even know. Okay. It doesn't even matter. But I believe that if you are under the age of 18, I'll even go that low. I feel it's low. I think it should be 21. If you are under the age of 18, I do not feel like anyone, including the government and schools and public officials or your parents, should be encouraging you to change your body permanently. That's something that, to me, it's abuse. It's the same situation as when you have young girls who are mutilated in their genitalias for whatever reason, religiously, whatever, politically, in other countries. It is, to me, as a human race, wrong to physically change children or hurt them in any way. That's just my opinion. Now, I'm going to go on to what I wanted to talk about. And that was that I see on social media that so many people just are speaking within their echo chambers on both sides. Don't think I'm defending anybody. Now, everyone's always just like, oh, I don't know. I tiptoe around. So I'm just going to put it out there. And whether or not you like it or not is totally up to you. I don't care because I truly believe that everybody has the right to be whatever they are. But I'm also not going to judge somebody. I'm not going to be like, hey, I've physically seen medical people that I know are in the medical world for mental health physically state, hey, if you're a Trumpster, I'm done with this. I'm not even going to treat, like, if any of my patients are Trumpster lovers, I'm not treating them anymore. To me, this person should have their license revoked because you can't keep your personal feelings and your personal life and your personal choices out of your business where you care and provide for other people. That's an issue. So I really don't think they have any business being in healthcare providing, let alone mental healthcare providing, because those people somehow I feel need a little themselves, perhaps. I would never say that. I could never. I worked in an emergency room. I can never be like, I'm not going to treat you because I don't believe in pronouns. We have some, but like, I can't guess what yours are. And if you tell me, I can't commit to that. That's on you, That's my truth. That's your truth. I respect it, but that doesn't mean that I have to enter your world. I'm not expecting you to enter mine. Yours differs. And some people will be like, but their world is different, Denise. Their world is different. You're not respecting them. They told you what they were. And it's like, okay, but you can't take a small percent, and it's a small percentage of people. It's a squeaky wheel. It's a squeaky wheel. And then there's whole thing going on between, the gay and lesbian community and the LGBTQ, all the flag stuff, because I don't know it. I don't know it, and I'm not going to claim to know it. It's not in my world. I have gay and lesbian friends. I have gay and lesbian family members. And here's the deal. Like, I accept them for who they are. But there's some, debate amongst the group themselves on why some were clumped with others. And, hey, we fought for rights and we're able to marry our spouses. Why are we doing all this other nonsense? It's not called for. And why is it encouraged by public officials? That's where it gets concerning. Next step in current administration, Trump administration, 47th president of the United States, an overwhelmingly large majority of people, even in Democratic states that turned from blue to red, chose to vote Donald Trump in for change. That's it. It's done. That's who the president is for the next 4 years. Carry on. But somehow there's this uprisal of, we need to fight this and we need to, no, we don't really. I didn't vote for Biden or Harris. But my life didn't change. It didn't get altered in any way outside of me watching friends and family that's lives were altered and changed as a result of financial responsibility and choices of that administration. But it's interesting how so much false information goes around. And I was talking to Mr. Sith and I thought, see, this is why we are in a world of, especially our country, I should say, of dispute and divide. And it's because we watch news and we hang with the people who think like us. And I don't. I just don't. I won't watch news. And we'll talk later about why that turned out to be a good thing. And I don't care what you do in your personal life. That's cool. As long as it's not interfering with my life. And I don't want to interfere with your life. And if we all just did that, remember the whole saying, like, tend to your own yard? We just need to tend to our own yards and we'll be fine. I never needed to know what anyone's sexuality was at work. I'm literally in awe sometimes that my friends will tell me that they were like filling out a job application and they're asking you for pronouns and corporations and all this other stuff. And it was like, really? When I went to work, they just wanted to make sure you were on time and your projects were done. Seriously. It just works so much better. Like nobody needs to know who I'm dating, whether they're male or female or what they identify on or what. Nobody cares. This is work. We're going to come in, we're going to do our shit, and we're going to leave. And then we're going to go home, and then we're going to do what we do in our personal life, which is whatever you choose to do. Like, period. You don't need to be doxxed by nobody. It's your personal world. As long as you don't bring that shit to work, which is where stuff went wrong. That's why doxing started. People started doxing people because they brought home to work. Think about it. They brought home to work. Too many, you took down the gray line. When you don't have any lines, it's pretty much a free-for-all. That's kind of where we're at now. Anyways, anywho's, apparently we have the Doge now. Elon Musk, everybody hates this man. I remember when everybody loved him. I'm indifferent. I could care less. In all honesty, I was like, whatever. He's just another advisor, just like all the other previous administrations were able to hire an advisor, except this one's working for free. That's awesome. An advisor. And I almost sometimes, I was telling Mr. Sith and some friends, I feel like when you go through, now if you don't know, there's a Doge tracker, and they're going through and doing checks and balances on all of our spending to find out why we are in such depth that it's almost unfathomable. Which it is. The depth we are in is unfathomable. Say that word 3 times fast. Unfathomable. And so they're checks and balancing it. And when you read the stuff that our tax money has been going to, it is infuriating and humorous all in one. Like I almost feel like it's an episode of Punk'd. And it was like, at one point, do you think in an administration that we have Americans, children in this country who don't eat proper and have no place to live and have no resources for same because we're being told we don't have any because we have a deficit? To find out billions of dollars were being strewn abroad, where it's not supposed to be. So I thought to myself, maybe some people don't actually know why we pay taxes. Now, yeah, I have friends who would be like, taxation is theft. And you know what? If the IRS went away, I'd be like, bye. Bye. See you later. So I'm going to go through a few things, just kind of clarify. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to define to you, and this is the reason why, because we have a bunch of people who are super, I don't know, all of a sudden hate Elon Musk. Okay, that's fine. Whatever you like him or not, he's doing a job, and he apparently seems to be unearthing some very troubling things, okay? And I don't know the concern. There's so much, I guess I'm confused as to why, and this is me. This is I want help. I'm concerned on why. I'm not going to like put up a meme where like, if you're worried about this and you're not that, you're part of the problem. No, because that's also part of the problem. It's causing divide by blaming another person for being whatever. I want to provide anybody who listens to me with facts and definitions. And I want everybody to make decisions in the future based on that information. Look it up yourself. You don't have to take it from me. You can Google this stuff. But there should be no reason why anybody's like, you're stupid because you do this, and no, you're dumb because you believe that. And we have some very concerning evidence that has come forward as a result of these checks and balances audits on our government over the last 4 years. Now, do I think this is just the last 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration? Nope. Just going to say that right now. But this is a nice precedent to look back, or let's not even look back. Let's go forward. We did 1 year, right? Let's do the recent year and then go forward, right? Because just because the Trump administration is the one looking into what happened in the Biden administration doesn't mean that the Trump administration that is currently in the 47th presidential slot doesn't mean that they're also open to an audit. We should continue to put these things in place. As Americans, we should want this. And let me tell you why. Because we pay taxes. Some of us we all pay federal taxes, but some of us also pay local and state government taxes. Okay? And if you live in my area in Illinois and some other states like California, you're paying some of the highest taxes in the country. We pay a lot of taxes here. Do you know, here's an example of how Illinois taxes work. We pay tax on our gas, and then we pay tax extra for the tax that taxes the tax on our gas. I'm not making this up. Look it up. And then in the summer, the tax that taxes the tax for our gas gets taxed again because that's the summer tax. There's also a winter tax on the tax that taxes our tax for the gas. It's almost like a Dr. Seuss book. You can't make it up. It's true. Look it up. So taxes, I'm just going to speak in general. Taxes provide revenue for federal, local, and state governments to fund essential services that can include defense, highways, police, a justice system, okay, a FEMA, okay, there's another situation. They're getting a lot of hoo-ha right now, okay, that benefit all citizens who pay those taxes, who could not provide such services very effectively for themselves. Right? It's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty cut and dry. Why did America even start paying taxes? In 1862, President Lincoln signed into law a revenue-raising measure to help pay for Civil War expenses. Okay? The measure created the Commissioner of Internal Revenue and the nation's first income tax. It levied a 3% tax on all incomes between $600 and $10,000 and a 5% tax on incomes of more than $10,000. Okay? So, Lincoln, okay, let's just stick with him for a minute. We're going to stick just with this example, okay? So, 3% taxes on incomes between 6 and 10,000. And we have to, come on, you got to take this into effect. It was 1862. Okay. And 5% on incomes of more than 10,000. So more taxes for the higher income over 10,000 and a lower tax for the ones under. He is a Republican. So for those of you who didn't know, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. I don't know why. I think because he's tied into the whole freedom of the slavery movement and all of that. Okay. He was a Republican. I just want you guys to, there's a lot of misinformation about that. There's a lot of misinformation about just our general history, most likely because they don't teach it anymore or they want to erase it. And this is why it's important that we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to repeat history, but I'm okay with being offended by it so it doesn't happen again. Think about that. The next time, like, people are calling for statues and flags to be removed, you really need to make sure that you're cautious about what you're removing in its entirety, because you don't want to erase history, because it will repeat itself. It certainly will. So one of the things that the Doge, has been doing is going through all of the spending, and they have the Doge tracker, and there are some super concerning things on what they're spending our tax dollars on. They're spending tax dollars on high things that do not benefit American citizens. So I think if we look at it just factually and we erase all of the emotion and all of whether or not you like or dislike an administration who is uncovering the information, if you are at core an American and you pay taxes, okay, federally, state, or local, they all apply. Federally, when you are paying taxes, those dollars are to help the benefit of U.S. citizens. And we are finding that billions of dollars are being sent abroad. And this defies and contradicts what taxes are for, federal taxes. So if that doesn't, number one, raise an eyebrow, I'll even do that because it angers me. I mean, am I going to sit here and go like crazy about it? No. Because can I change anything? No. What's done is done. But I am happy that it is becoming transparent so that we can set something up or demand that the current administration, which it seems like they're doing, is going to set up making sure that checks and balances exist for themselves, the administration they're checking up on, and going forward. And one of the examples that was really disturbing, because we all know about, Biden, his son Hunter, we know about the cocaine in the White House, like eye roll. Okay. All of that dramatic news to like whatever. There are three things that I found really disturbing. Number one, the connections between the Bidens and Ukraine and the fact that they were given apparently like, I don't know, I'm throwing a number out. Don't quote me verbatim, $121 billion to the Ukraine. And then the Ukrainian president or prime minister, whatever he's called, he comes forward like he's, I don't know, clearing his conscience. And he's like, well, I only received 91 billion. And I'm thinking to myself, so basically you made a deal with some shady ass people in the government, Democrats, in this particular instance, okay? I'm sure there are plenty of shady deals that have been made with Republicans as well. Right now, we're just going to talk about the Democrats because that's one that needs to be fixed. And then we can go ahead and fix the next one when they audit the Trump administration. See how that works? It's like boom, boom, boom. Then we get everything under control. You made a shady arrangement, and I'm sure there was tons more regarding the president's son and all this other garbage. And there's a whole there's a lot of things behind that you need to dig deep on. Okay. We're not even going to talk about that. But this president, it was supposed to get 121 billion. They only got 91 billion. Where did that other money go? Now, if you're not asking yourself this question, let me explain to you money laundering. Okay. Because what's happening is I can pick two people, okay? Nancy Pelosi and Schumer. Okay, we'll pick those two. They make an annual salary that's public record, about $200,000. I think like one is like 211 or 220, and the other one's like $203,000. It's a great salary, right? Mr. Sith makes more net. I'm just saying. But their net worth is millions. Like 200,000, like 200 million plus dollars, their net worth, or high end 190s. Even so, okay, we are good investors now. We own a home. We don't have mansions in different cities. Where is this net worth coming from? Where is, if you have 91 billion that was received by the Ukraine, but you were supposed to, the paper trail and the money is showing 121. This is why we need audits, because that is the very definition of how you start laundering money and lining your own pockets. And I'm not just pinpointing those two, because I'm sure those are the two examples that had come forward that were very like remarkable to me, that like, wow, like, and just all of this money for nonsense things. So even if you want to argue, DEI, or was it DIE or DEI? It's DEI, right? Like, I don't even care. If you are not here in this country legally, you have to go. No other country in the world allows this. And it was allowed en masse. And now we have issues. Like, there shouldn't be a reason why my parents get, like, I don't know, $86 to help them in their retirement for food monthly when it costs more to buy a salad now at the store. But other people are getting $4,000 to $15,000 a month, and they're not even citizens. That's not okay. That is a mismanagement of money. And so I think it's super important that we have these checks and balances. And so I guess I wonder, my concern is always like, what is actually going through the minds of someone? Is a hatred towards an individual so incredibly high that it overrides goodness for all in America? Are you okay with people laundering money of your own tax dollars and sending it abroad to other countries for favors in lieu of taking care of Americans? That would be my first question. So think about that the next time you know anybody or may become outraged, maybe because of all the stuff that's going on. Maybe that's a good conversation to have, but in a more neutral way. You know what I'm saying? I think that right now communication is the key, but it has to be respectful and the emotion has to come out of it. It has to be factual. You have to really want to care what the other sometimes I have a friend who's highly liberal. I love her. I think she's the nicest person ever. She's adorable. But I don't understand. She says stuff politically that make no sense. Like, they're based on nothing factual. So it's confusing to me. Like, I'm like, well, I know you believe that, but where did you get those facts from? Because that's not actually what happened. It's public record. So that brings me to going from the checks and balances system. Okay. And so how, like, there's this entire group of people or Americans that truly just despise Trump and now Elon Musk and whoever else he appoints to. Anything that's got to do with Trump is despised. The whole administration. They're the demise of America. I don't know what. I don't know why that would not be. That's why I said I can't understand why it's not concerning that they are. Did you think they're fabricating it? I mean, we have trillions of dollars in deficit. Where is this money coming from? Okay, stop printing money. That means this is a basic economy logic. So we just need to discuss based on facts versus emotions. And that brings me to, why are these people so incredibly, I hate to use the word, but right now it seems like it sometimes, but like brainwashed. And that's when you look at some of the things that they're unearthing in this audit is how many of these huge media, newspaper, celebrities are being paid to provide false propaganda to a group of people who are clearly all in. I haven't watched our news media. When I want information, I literally go to government sites and I start looking. You just got to know where to look. It's all out there. It has to be public record, they have to at least do that much. It's just mind numbing. I won't go into it, but like even the whole COVID thing and the boosters, there's so much going on worldwide exposing that complete farce. Not to mention that somebody literally was pardoned for not being accused of anything, but now all these things are coming to light that are super concerning. You know, we won't even go down that conspiracy theory path. We'll leave that one there for another episode. It's a whole nother episode. But just like, why can't we look at why all these media outlets were paid by this Democratic term, these 4-year Democratic term? Why? And it says straight up that it was for basically spreading it with the line items. And everyone's like, I want to see it. That doesn't make any sense. I want to see it. Show me the receipts. That's what everybody says now. I hate that term. Show me the receipts. Stop it. Y'all watch too many Housewives. That doesn't make any sense. Well, they're in public record. They're literally being released. The current media was actually being told by the White House press conference. I forget her name, the lady. I really don't watch any of it except for when I'm going to search information out. And they had asked her for the receipts. And she was like, here, I have receipts right here with like some of you who are standing before me are on this list of people who were paid millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to basically just say whatever you were told to say to make sure that the en masse stayed behind them. That's concerning to me. That's propaganda. And propaganda is not from a free country, and it doesn't belong in it. And my third one was a personal one that happened. I laugh at it because I'm concerned, but it's humorous because it could have come from the other party. It doesn't matter. It just happened to come to my house. But so y'all know my parents lived with me for the longest time. We lived here together. We tried twice and it just didn't work out. But they chose it was better for all of us if they got their own place and we had our place, and that's how we do it. I still talk to them. We're not on bad terms. I will tell you this because when they were here, we are all registered as Republican voters. Now, I'm going to say I'm not a Republican. It's just that most frequently and lastly, it made more sense for me and my family to have a better quality of life voting a certain ballot. And that's how everybody should vote. I don't care what my neighbor voted. I don't care what the lady across the street voted. I don't care what you voted. If I'm friends with somebody, I'm friends with them. I don't need to know who you voted for. You don't have to put it in your yard. And here's the funny thing. If you do put it in your yard, like some of my neighbors did, I'm not going to try to steal your sign if it's not who I was voting and think that they're jerk-offs because they're voting for the other party, because they're still my friends. I like them as people. I don't care who they voted for. I don't. I'm still friends with all of my friends that voted for Biden, with the exception of one. And do you know why? It wasn't my choice. She told me that she couldn't see being friends with people who liked Hitler. And I just thought, okay. That's what I said. Because to me, I've actually been in a position where I have seen Auschwitz in Poland. And I don't think comparing anybody to Hitler is anything but ignorant and very condescending and uncaring to an entire situation that happened in our history, in our world history. I'm going to leave it at that. So that term is not thrown around lightly with me. I feel that anybody who uses that term or calls anybody Hitler should be mandated to go look at a concentration camp and then tell me you feel it's the same because your emotions took over. It's sickening to me. I just can't. So I was okay. I was like, you know what? She had to let me go because she was so caught up in her emotions, and that's okay. And here's the best thing. If she came back to me tomorrow and was like, listen, I was really wrong. My emotions got away from me and I judged you for something that I believed in versus letting you have your own beliefs. And I'd be like, cool, let's go to lunch. It is what it is because I like her. I think she's awesome. But I'm like, hey, you're going to feel the way you're going to feel. I can't change that. Right? So same situation. So the other day I got mail from the Democratic National Committee. And I thought, what? This is the funny part. I'm winding it down with this, peeps. Concerning, but not concerning. But this is the thing that I wanted to put out there because I don't like it, because this is basically what was received Okay. My dad's like, you totally got to like do something about that. I was like, I'm gonna. He's like, that's crazy. How did they get my name? And I'm like, well, you know what? You were sick during the election, Dad. So for all you know, you probably voted Democratic. I'm sorry. It was a joke. It was a joke, sorta. After reading this letter, I'm not so sure anymore. So they say, you know, hey, dear Dad, Donald Trump, I'm reading the letter now. This is how we're going to end this. Donald Trump is the 47th president of the United States, and we know that you are likely feeling tired and even fearful of what's to come during another Trump administration. That's fear-mongering. It really upsets me that my dad, as a senior citizen who is registered Republican, is even getting this letter, but then they're opening it and there are other people getting this letter and they're feeding the fear mongering. It's just discouraging that we need to put our government back in check, period. I'm reading again. Donald Trump and his MAGA allies are looking for Democrats to give in to hopelessness, to stand by and let them take our country backward. Well, you know, in light of what's actually, I'm thinking, when were these printed? That's what I want to know. When were these printed? Were these printed clearly before all of the stuff they're like unearthing right now? Why would we be going backwards? It's called distraction. This is a distraction letter. Okay? But reading again, the Democratic Party have fought through major inflection points in history before. Now we are facing yet another that demands a great deal from us. And the only way we can meet this moment is if we meet it, in italics, together. That's sweet. And I also want to put out there that we have fought through major inflection points in history before. That brings us back to Lincoln. When the Democrat Party fought against the Republican Party against slavery, they were for slavery versus the Republicans being against slavery. That seems to be a big misnomer in history in people's memories. Together, reading again, together we can make sure Trump and his allies are met with the full power of our grassroots movement. A movement with renewed resolve to stop their extreme policies and assaults on our freedoms. I don't see that anywhere, actually. What I do see is a party that got caught with their pants down and they're panicking. And this could very well have been the Republicans. Because in all honesty, we also need to remember that Trump was always a Democrat. And he ran Republican when the Democrats got out of check. You got to kind of factor that in as well. I'm reading again, every Democrat, italics, each and every one of us, will be a leader in the fight to stop the Trump administration's dangerous agenda. How we prepare, this is underlined, how we prepare and mobilize in the first 100 days will, italics, define Democrats' resistance, focus, and path forward. Okay, so I'm not really understanding. The only thing dangerous about the current administration's agenda is that they're unearthing the mismanagement of billions of dollars of U.S. tax dollars. Are we ever going to get that back, peeps? Are we ever going to get that back? There are people who've had their homes destroyed by floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and yet they were written checks for $500, $700, $800, and millions of the dollars that are supposed to take care of these people are being sent abroad under the watch of the Democrat Party. What dangerous agenda is out there that could be any more dangerous than not providing or protecting the money of the U.S. taxpayers to provide for U.S. citizens? I ask you that to ponder on that a little bit. Now, my favorite part is that's why I'm personally asking you to take 2 important actions today. This is bold. Please enclose your responses to our brief survey to inform our fight in the months ahead and return a generous contribution of $20, $30, or even $40 to activate your 2025 DNC membership. By activating your membership, you will be one of the first to help lay the groundwork of electing Democrats to every level across the country and fight Trump's MAGA extremism. Well, you know what's extreme? Having the audacity to ask for a generous contribution from your constituents of $20, $30, or even $40 to activate a membership when you've literally been caught with your hands down stealing millions and lining your own pockets. You can't make, do you see why I think we're being punked sometimes? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff back here. They do have some key things that include the investments that they're going to do. And they're going to do this for the first time ever. They're going to help Democrats win down ballot races in traditionally Republican held states. You know, sort of like what happened in their states when they ignored their constituents for 4 years and got nuts. Okay. Better late than never, right? Encouraging if you're a Democrat. Supercharging state parties and coordinating campaigns as GOTV efforts and reaching key voters. I'm just going to leave that there. Supporting the hiring of Black, AAPI, Latino, Native America, and youth organizers, along with organizing in tribal reservations and communities to ensure Democrats could meet voters where they're across communities. So sounds like they just named 4 people that they ignored in the last election and took for granted, and then spoke out of term and assumed that these large percentage of voters was just going to automatically vote for them, and then found out that they didn't. So, hey, I'm glad that they're doing that. The concerns, number one, if you're a Democrat, you should be concerned about their survey, because this is what the DNC needs to hear from you, is what they're asking. They want to know which of Trump's priorities do you find the most troubling? And then they go through to literally just making up half of the stuff on this list. I'm not even going to lie. And then number 2, which aspects of the Trump presidency do you find the most disturbing? Choose up to 3. Please choose up to 3. Let me just name a bunch of these. His reckless foreign policy positions, his admiration for dictators and authoritarians. I guess I'm just going to take that one, because I think where that is that he said he could sit down and have a talk with Jim, the South Korean dude, or North Korean, whatever it was, Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is, right? Them weirdos over there. Yeah. So he said he could sit down and have a conversation with that guy. Why wouldn't he want to? You pretty want watch somebody unbalanced from a country like that in a dictator leadership. You probably want to have a decent conversational rapport with that country. The fact that, I don't know, Putin has a rapport with him as well and respects him as a leader, I don't see anything wrong with that. You probably want that so you can avoid conflict, which leads to super conflict, which leads to war, right? And then the whole his erratic temperament and judgment. Okay, so we just had a president who fell every time he went here, and if we can't eat, if you want to talk erratic temperament, let's talk erratic verbiage. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know. His felony convictions. I mean, I got a felony conviction. If he could run the country, what does that got to do with anything? I mean, he didn't steal from people. Just saying. I'm sorry. That was a jab and it was uncalled for. But it is my podcast. And quite frankly, the fact that they would actually, here's my thing. These two questions mean that this party doesn't have anything planned for change. They just want to continue a hate and smear campaign. They want to continue divide. Because if I was head of the Democratic Party and the part of the Democratic National Committee, Roger Lau, Deputy Executive Director, what I would have done is my two questions would have been, as a constituent, what would you like us to do as your party representatives? Too much reading? Just saying. Or perhaps, what is something that you would like to see us, or a focus point you would like to see us concentrate on over the next 4 years during this administration? Just saying. And a little less finger pointing. I have already reached out to the Democratic local party that sent me this to ask them how the hell my dad got on a list when he has voted Republican for the last, 20 years in any election, local and federal. That's interesting because we all know about the voter fraud. And that was my third point. So now I'm having to do a little investigation to just make sure that he is listed under the Republican voting thing and how we have gotten this to bring up, because I spoke with my neighbors and even my Democrat neighbor has not received this propaganda, because that's what it is. And so I'm concerned that it might possibly only be going to elderly people who, might be an easy way to get free votes in the future, if you know what I mean. Hey, listen, it's what they do, okay? It's what they do. They literally are paying Social Security. There are Social Security checks going out for thousands, for millions, up to that equal in its entirety, not just each individual check. That would be crazy. But there are millions of dollars of Social Security money being paid to people who are over 112 and probably do not exist. What? Anyway, my friends, please look at these things with an open mind. Love your neighbor. Always be respected. But I always find that if you're given respect and you just walk away from the conflict, the people are going to start respecting you more as well. And then eventually we're all going to get to this point where we all look back at this really turbulent time and we laugh. I truly want to believe that in my heart of hearts, that we're going to look back at this time and we're going to see how incredibly duped we've been, and that we're going to come together as a people because we're stronger than that. I mean, humans are resilient. And we're magnificently made. And I'm telling you, we're going to come out on top. That's all I got for you today. I will talk to you Saturday. Until then, lead with kindness and lean on God. Bye.